Hey guys, this is Shannon with Nearly Organic Noshing, and today is Monday and I am going to make some kind of like jerk pork. I have the recipe right here for jerk seasoning, and I went ahead and pulled out all of my seasonings here. It calls for 2 tablespoons of minced onion, 2.5 teaspoons of thyme, 2 teaspoons of allspice, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne, a half a teaspoon of salt, and then approximately 2 tablespoons of oil. It calls vegetable oil, but I pretty much don't use vegetable oil. I either use olive oil, coconut oil, or occasionally avocado oil. But for this recipe, I'm just using olive oil. And I have some pork pieces here I took out earlier to defrost. I think I got this for like $2. It was on a quick sale, which was $2 off, and it was $4.74 to begin with. So this was about $2 and change. And then these are some of the last of my sweet potatoes from last year's garden. A lot of them are sprouting, so I am going to go ahead and just try and use up some of these that still have a little bit of size on them. A couple of peppers and an onion. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make this seasoning up right here, mix it all together, and put it in a bag with the pork. And then I'm gonna chop up the vegetables, add them to the bag, and let them all marinate while I cook the rest of dinner. All right, once I go ahead and mix all these together, I'll show you what it looks like. Hey guys, just a little side note. The only thing that I had in my cabinet, I'd forgotten in a recipe the other day, I'd used the last of my allspice, but I still had like half a jar of whole allspice. And I just ran it through the grind program, the grind feature on my coffee maker. You could also use a Magic Bullet or, you know, whatever you have, blender, but it's just really fast to put it through, grinds it up like coffee beans. It's not quite as fine a ground as you would have what you buy from the store. But if I wanted it really, really fine, I have another coffee grinder that does like espresso grinds, you know, it grinds it that fine. And I could have done that, but for what I need, this is all I need, and I'll just take what's left over and put it in another little jar up in the cabinet after I use what I need. So just an option if all you have are whole, like, you know, whole cloves or whole allspice, just run it through your coffee pot. Okay guys, this is my mixture, just all blended together. And I have my meat and my sweet potatoes, onions, and bell peppers in the bag. I'm going to pour in some olive oil, then pour in my seasoning and just smush it all together to get it all blended and let it sit and marinate for about 20 minutes while I get everything else going. Okay, there is everything in the bag. I'm just gonna toss this back in the fridge and let it set while I start working on the rest of dinner. Okay, while the pork and veggies are marinating, I'm just gonna show you a really quick and easy way to do mushrooms. Now, I'm gonna do these in the microwave, and I know a lot of people don't like to use a microwave. You can do this in the oven also if you'd like to. And, you know, I may end up popping these in the oven with the pork. It just depends on how much other stuff I'm trying to get done tonight. But this works really well either way. And you just take a mushroom and pull the stem out. You can stick the stem next to it, and then take a chunk of butter and put the butter inside the hole. Just a little bit of butter, probably a little more than I needed to, but I'm trying to do this one-handed. And then give it a nice dose of salt. I like to do all of them like this, put them in and microwave them in 2-minute increments. And some people like them as soon as they're hot and cooked all the way through, they take them out. I like to cook mine until they start to shrivel a little bit and get almost a touch chewy. I just think the flavor is better. Same thing if you do it in the oven. Set them all up like this, pop them in the oven and just let them cook until they're started to shrivel down a little bit, and they are delicious. And this is the easiest, most simple way to do buttered mushrooms, and they turn out perfect every time. Okay, that's what they look like all in the dish. So I'll go ahead and pop these in the microwave and just let them cook. And I'll show you what they look like when they're done. This is just the perfect little side dish to a meal. Okay guys, I have my mixture in my cast iron skillet, and I'm just gonna cook it in here for just a few minutes to kind of caramelize some of the vegetables, get them a little bit brown, and then I'm going to take them and pop them in the oven and let them finish cooking in the oven. Okay guys, at this point it is almost completely cooked. I am just going to give it a stir and add a couple of dollops of butter on top with a little bit of smoked salt, and just pop it in the oven for a couple of minutes while I finish up everything else. Okay guys, this is what dinner looks like complete. We have our jerk pork with sweet potatoes, peppers, and onions, our mushrooms, and then I just made a mixed salad, mixed greens with spinach with some blue cheese and a little bit of vinaigrette dressing. And that's what's for dinner tonight. Okay guys, hope you're having a wonderful evening.